Too many women today have been taught to be soft, to shrink, to always please others while neglecting themselves. But softness without strength leads to weakness, and weakness invites disrespect. If you want to live with dignity, confidence, and unshakable worth, you must learn how to stop being a soft woman, because the world does not reward fragility. It respects power. This is your time to rise, to reclaim your strength, and to become a woman who cannot be broken. Many women confuse kindness with weakness, and this is where the danger begins. To be kind is a great strength, but when kindness turns into blind compliance, when it becomes the inability to say no, then it no longer serves you. Kindness is noble when it flows from a place of self-respect. But when it flows from fear of rejection, fear of losing people, or fear of disappointing others, it becomes weakness. Weakness does not protect you. Weakness does not elevate you. Weakness invites those who see opportunity in your softness to step on you, to misuse you, and to dismiss your worth. That is why you must learn to understand the difference. Imagine two women, one who is kind yet strong, and one who is kind yet fragile. The first woman will help others, but she will not compromise her dignity in the process. She is like a tree, flexible but rooted. The second woman gives endlessly, but she bends until she breaks. The first woman is respected, while the second is pitied or exploited. Ask yourself, which one do you want to be? Every day you are faced with choices that will either reveal your strength or your weakness. Saying yes to everything, forgiving without boundaries, allowing people to take advantage of your generosity. These do not make you virtuous. They make you easy to use. The world does not admire the one who is endlessly available. It admires the one who knows when to give and when to withhold. Strength does not mean becoming cold or harsh. It means becoming clear. It means knowing the value of your presence and protecting it. A kind woman who knows her worth is magnetic because her kindness comes with power. She does not need to please everyone. She does not need to prove her goodness. Her very presence communicates strength, and therefore her kindness carries weight. When she speaks, people listen. When she gives, people treasure it. But when she refuses, people accept it because they know she is not someone to push around. You cannot step into this version of yourself until you build the courage to set unshakable boundaries. Boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They are doors that you decide who can walk through and under what conditions. A woman without boundaries is like a house with open doors and windows in the middle of the night. Anyone can walk in, and they will take what they want, leaving you empty. You may think that being endlessly giving makes people love you more, but in truth it makes them respect you less. Love without respect is not real love. If people cannot honor the lines you draw, they are not meant to be in your life. Saying no does not make you unkind. Saying no does not make you selfish. Saying no makes you strong, because it shows you understand your value. Think of water flowing through a river. If it has no banks, no boundaries, it floods and destroys. But when guided by firm edges, the same water gives life and power. You too must learn to guide your energy with boundaries. Each time you say no to what disrespects you, you are saying yes to your own worth. Each time you refuse to compromise your dignity, you are strengthening the foundation of your life. People may resist at first. They may even become angry because they benefited from your softness. But with time, even they will learn to respect you, or they will remove themselves. And either way, you win. The habit of apologizing for everything is another sign of softness that must be corrected. Too many women walk into rooms apologizing for their existence. They say sorry for speaking, sorry for asking, sorry for wanting, sorry for simply being. This constant apology does not make you polite, it makes you invisible. You do not need to shrink yourself to make others comfortable. You do not need to lower your voice to make others feel louder. Each unnecessary apology chips away at your presence until you become a shadow of who you truly are. You must begin to listen to yourself. How many times do you say sorry when there is nothing to be sorry for? Someone bumps into you and you apologize. You express your opinion and you apologize. You ask for what you need and you apologize. These are habits of a woman who has been taught that her worth is less, that her needs are inconvenient, that her voice is too heavy. Break this pattern. Your presence is not a burden. Your needs are not weaknesses. Your voice deserves space. The world does not reward endless apologies. It rewards certainty. When you speak, speak with clarity. When you move, move with intention. When you stand, stand without guilt. Of course, if you make a true mistake, you apologize sincerely, but do not dilute yourself by apologizing for existing. Strength is not arrogance. It is certainty. It is walking into a room knowing you have the right to be there. It is speaking your truth without trembling, and it is asking for what you deserve without fear. When you stop apologizing for things that do not require apology, you will feel your confidence rise. You will no longer seek permission to exist. You will simply exist with dignity. Understand this: kindness without strength is weakness. Generosity without boundaries is self-betrayal. And apologies without reason are chains around your spirit. Break these chains. Build a kindness that is rooted in respect. Build boundaries that protect your worth. Build confidence that no longer feels the need to apologize for existing. This is how you stop being soft. This is how you become unshakable. This is how the world learns that you are not someone to overlook, but someone to honor. The strongest women are not those who react to every insult, every disappointment, every challenge with raw emotion. The strongest women are those who have mastered the art of emotional discipline. Emotions are natural, but they are not meant to control your life. Think about fire. It can warm your home, or it can burn it to the ground. Your emotions are the same. If you let them rule you, you will live in chaos, constantly pulled in different directions by the storms inside you. But if you learn to guide them, to master them, they will fuel your purpose, sharpen your vision, and make you unstoppable. There will always be moments when life provokes you. Someone disrespects you. Someone disappoints you. Someone betrays your trust. Your first instinct may be to cry, to scream, to lash out, or to collapse into self-pity. But that first reaction is rarely the one that serves you. Strength means pausing between the stimulus and the response. It means asking yourself, what action in this moment will protect my dignity and what action will destroy it? A woman who is ruled by her emotions loses control of her choices. She speaks words she regrets. She acts in ways that harm her reputation. But a woman who has trained herself to pause, to breathe, to respond with clarity, becomes untouchable. Her calmness is not emptiness, it is power. When you feel the waves rising inside you, remind yourself that you are the ocean, not the storm. The storm will pass, but you remain. This inner stillness does not mean suppressing your feelings. It means acknowledging them, then deciding whether they deserve your energy. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every insult deserves your words. And not every provocation deserves your tears. Sometimes silence is the most powerful response, and sometimes walking away preserves your strength more than fighting back. To master your emotions is to master your life. But discipline is not only about your inner world. It extends to your body, because your body and your mind are one. A weak body often leads to a weak spirit. When you neglect your health, when you let your physical strength decay, your confidence begins to shrink. You feel less capable, less resilient, and less worthy. Building physical strength is not just about appearance, it is about embodying resilience. A woman who trains her body tells herself every day, I am capable, I am disciplined, I can endure discomfort. That discipline transfers into every area of her life. When you wake up early to move your body, when you push yourself one step further than your comfort allows, you train your mind to accept challenges. When you refuse to indulge every craving, when you fuel yourself with what strengthens you rather than what weakens you, you are not just shaping your body, you are shaping your character. Discipline builds confidence because each time you conquer yourself, you prove to yourself that you can. And once you believe you can, nothing outside of you can convince you otherwise. A strong woman is not fragile, waiting for others to protect her. She is capable of protecting herself. Her strength does not mean she never asks for help. It means she never depends entirely on others to carry her. She knows her body is her foundation, and so she treats it with respect. And this respect radiates into her presence. When she walks into a room, people sense it, not because of her beauty, but because of the unshakable energy she carries in the way she stands, the way she moves, the way she holds herself. That presence is also reflected in the way she speaks. Your voice is one of the most powerful tools you have, yet many women allow it to become small, hesitant, unsure. They speak as if they are asking for permission to exist. They trail off at the end of sentences, as though their words do not deserve weight. But when you learn to speak with authority, you claim your space in the world. Speaking with authority does not mean being loud. It does not mean dominating every conversation. It means being clear, direct, and firm. It means saying what you mean without fear, without over-explaining, without diluting your truth to make it more acceptable. Think of a woman who speaks with authority. She does not rush her words. She does not fill silence with nervous chatter. She speaks slowly with intention. And because of that, every word lands with force. People listen not because she demands their attention, but because her presence commands it. This is the difference between noise and power. Noise is constant but easily ignored. Power is calm but impossible to dismiss. You can train yourself to speak this way. Begin by believing that your voice matters. Do not hide behind softness when firmness is required. Do not decorate your truth with unnecessary apologies or endless justifications. Learn to state your needs and your boundaries clearly without trembling. And if your voice shakes at first, let it. Strength is not built overnight. Each time you use your voice, you sharpen it. Each time you refuse to remain silent in the face of disrespect, you strengthen it. Soon, you will find that people no longer question whether you deserve to be heard. They will listen because your authority will leave no room for doubt. To discipline your emotions, to strengthen your body, and to command your voice. These are not separate practices. They are one path toward becoming a woman who is no longer soft in the ways that invite harm. A woman who trains herself in these ways becomes solid. She cannot be easily swayed by chaos. She cannot be easily broken by challenge. And she cannot be easily silenced by fear. She becomes like a mountain, still, unshakable, and respected by all who see her. This is the kind of strength that transforms not only how the world treats you, but also how you treat yourself. There comes a point in every woman's life where she must decide whether she will live chained to the expectations of others or whether she will free herself to live by her own truth. For too long, many have been conditioned to seek approval as if it were oxygen, as if the validation of others is the only confirmation of worth. But the truth is this: the moment your value depends on the approval of others, you have already surrendered your power. Approval is unstable. It changes like the wind. One moment they praise you, the next they criticize you. One moment they applaud, the next they disappear. If your self-worth rises and falls with their applause, you will forever be fragile, easily broken by rejection, endlessly hungry for validation. Strength begins when you detach from this need. Understand this well. No matter what you do, there will always be those who disapprove. You could dedicate your life to kindness and still someone will call you weak. You could build a fortress of strength and still someone will call you arrogant. You could be generous and they will say you give too much. You could be reserved and they will call you cold. If you try to win everyone's approval, you will lose yourself because it is impossible. Your task is not to be pleasing to everyone. It is to be authentic to yourself. Authenticity is not about arrogance. It is about alignment. It is about knowing who you are, what you value, and standing firm even when others do not clap for you. Think of a woman who constantly seeks validation. She dresses not for herself, but to impress others. She speaks not her truth, but what she thinks others want to hear. She lives as a reflection of others' desires, not her own. Such a woman may gain temporary approval, but it is shallow, and it vanishes the moment she changes direction. On the other hand, the woman who is grounded in herself may not be liked by all, but she is respected. She is consistent and she radiates confidence because she does not beg for acceptance. People may resist her at first, but over time, they come to admire the strength of someone who does not bend to every opinion. You must decide, will you be a leaf blown in every direction by the winds of approval, or will you be the tree, rooted, standing firm, unmoved no matter which way the wind blows? Detachment does not mean you stop caring about people. It means you stop giving them the power to define you. Your worth was never theirs to measure. It was never theirs to approve. When you wake up in the morning, you must learn to look into your own reflection and ask, am I proud of who I am becoming? If the answer is yes, that is enough. If the answer is no, then it is not their judgment you should fear. It is your own neglect of your soul. There is a profound difference between seeking attention and commanding respect. Many women spend their energy chasing attention, believing that the more eyes they attract, the more valuable they are. But attention is shallow. It is addictive, but it is empty. Attention is loud, but it is fleeting. One day they look at you, the next day they forget. Attention can be bought, it can be manipulated, but it cannot sustain you. Respect, however, is different. Respect is deep. Respect endures. Respect is not given cheaply. It is earned through consistency, strength, and integrity. A woman who lives for attention will constantly change herself, constantly perform, constantly compete with others. But a woman who values respect will never compromise her standards for temporary applause. She understands that respect comes not from being seen, but from being valued. She understands that respect is built slowly, like a strong foundation, and that once it is established, it cannot be easily taken away. Which do you want? To be noticed or to be remembered? To be looked at or to be honored? To live for the crowd or to live for your soul? When you choose respect over attention, you stop chasing and start building. You build character, you build skill, you build presence. You stop needing to shout to be heard, because your actions speak louder than your noise. You stop needing to prove your worth, because your worth shines through the way you live. Respect does not require you to be everywhere. It requires you to be solid where you are. It does not require you to please everyone. It requires you to be consistent in who you are. The woman who commands respect does not chase the spotlight. She becomes the light. And when she walks into a room, people notice, not because she begged for attention, but because her presence cannot be ignored. Protecting your energy is one of the most important practices in this journey. Your energy is your life force. It is the fuel for your mind, your body, your soul. Yet so many women allow their energy to be drained by people who do not deserve it. They give endless hours to those who take, but never give back. They exhaust themselves trying to fix those who do not want to change. They pour into relationships that leave them empty, all because they fear being alone or being seen as selfish. But hear this clearly, protecting your energy is not selfish. It is survival. Imagine your energy as a sacred flame. If you let anyone approach it without care, they will smother it. If you allow toxic people to sit too close, they will take its warmth without ever fueling it. Soon your flame will dim and you will find yourself in darkness, wondering why you feel so empty, so heavy, so lifeless. But when you learn to protect it, when you learn to step back from those who only drain, when you learn to give only where there is respect and reciprocity, your flame grows stronger. It becomes light not only for yourself, but also for those who truly deserve it. This means you must learn to recognize the difference between those who inspire your growth and those who suffocate it. Some people enter your life only to test your strength. They may wear masks of love, but in truth, they feed on your softness, your time, your energy. They take without gratitude. They consume without replenishing. They drain without care. If you allow them to stay, you betray yourself. But if you learn to let them go, you honor yourself. A strong woman knows that her energy is sacred, and so she guards it fiercely. Guarding your energy also means being intentional with your time. How many hours are lost scrolling endlessly, comparing yourself to others, feeding insecurity? How much energy is wasted worrying about people who do not even think of you? How much life is drained by conversations that go nowhere, by arguments that mean nothing, by the constant noise of a world that feeds on distraction? You must reclaim your time, because time is life. Invest it in growth, invest it in learning, invest it in relationships that build, not break. When you redirect your energy, your entire life begins to change. Do not confuse this with being cold or unfeeling. Protecting your energy does not mean closing your heart. It means opening it only to those who deserve it. It means refusing to allow disrespect into your space. It means no longer pouring into those who drain you while neglecting yourself. A woman who protects her energy becomes radiant because she no longer allows others to dim her light. She shines brighter because her power is no longer leaking into places that do not matter. When you combine these truths, detaching from approval, choosing respect over attention, and protecting your energy, you become unshakable. You no longer need to beg for love because you embody love. You no longer need to chase validation because you validate yourself. You no longer need to exhaust your soul because you have learned that your energy is sacred. And in this state, you rise. You rise above the noise, above the opinions, above the distractions. You rise into the fullness of who you were always meant to be. Strength is not about being loud. It is not about being hard. It is not about being untouchable. Strength is about being whole, and wholeness can only come when you stop outsourcing your worth to the world and start owning it within yourself. A woman who understands this is no longer soft in the way the world can exploit. She is soft in compassion, but strong in boundaries. She is gentle in spirit, but fierce in dignity. She is open in love, but close to disrespect. That is the balance. That is the power. That is the path. Life will always present moments when conflict arises, when tension builds, when people push against your boundaries to test how much they can get away with. Many women have been conditioned to fear these moments, to avoid conflict at all costs, believing that peace means silence. But peace built on silence is not real peace. It is submission. Avoiding conflict does not protect you. It only delays the moment of truth. Strength is revealed in how you face conflict, not in how you run from it. The goal is not to fight every battle, but to refuse to shrink in the face of confrontation. You must learn to stand firm, with calmness in your spirit, even when the situation grows uncomfortable. When you face conflict without fear, you communicate something powerful, that you will not be silenced, that you will not be walked over, and that your boundaries are not suggestions. They are unshakable. Consider what happens when someone disrespects you and you remain silent out of fear. You teach them that your silence is permission. You teach them that your comfort matters less than theirs. Each time you allow this, your voice grows weaker and they grow bolder in their disrespect. But when you meet that same disrespect with composure, when you calmly but firmly state what is unacceptable, you shift the balance. You do not need to scream. You do not need to lose control. You simply need to be unwavering. People remember firmness. They remember when you do not collapse under pressure. And with time, they learn that you are not someone who can be manipulated through intimidation or silenced by discomfort. Conflict does not need to be destruction. It can be clarity. It can be the moment when someone finally understands that your kindness has limits, that your love is not weakness, and that your boundaries are not negotiable. This is why calmness is your greatest weapon. Anger makes you predictable. Rage makes you careless, but calmness makes you powerful. When you are calm in conflict, you show that you are in control of yourself, and a woman in control of herself is unstoppable. To stand firm in conflict, you must also stand firm in your standards. Too many women lower their standards out of fear. Fear of being alone, fear of being disliked, fear of missing out. But every time you lower your standards, you teach the world that your worth is negotiable. Standards are not rules for others. They are declarations of your value. They say, this is what I allow into my life, and this is what I refuse. When your standards are clear, you filter out what does not align with you, and you create space for what truly respects you. A woman without standards is like a door left wide open. Anything and anyone can walk in. But a woman with high standards is like a guarded temple. Not everyone has the privilege to enter. This does not make her arrogant. It makes her wise. She understands that her life is sacred ground, and not every person is worthy to plant their footsteps on it. If you lower your standards, you may gain temporary company, but you lose long-term respect, and respect, once lost, is difficult to regain. Do not confuse standards with unrealistic expectations. Standards are not about demanding perfection. They are about demanding alignment. They are about knowing your worth so deeply that you refuse to settle for less than honesty, less than respect, less than loyalty, less than effort. If someone cannot rise to meet your standards, it does not mean your standards are too high. It means they are not ready for your level of value, and that is their limitation, not yours. Think of it this way: a diamond never lowers its value because someone cannot afford it. It remains priceless, and those who cannot buy it simply walk away. But the right buyer, the one who understands its worth, will pay the price gladly. You must be the diamond. Do not lower yourself to fit into the hands of those who cannot hold your value. Stand firm, because the right people will always recognize your worth without you having to compromise it. Building unshakable standards requires you to invest in yourself. When you invest in your growth, your knowledge, your skills, and your personal evolution, your standards naturally rise. You begin to realize that you do not need to beg for scraps of love or fragments of respect, because you have built so much within yourself that you are no longer desperate for external validation. You understand that real confidence comes from competence, from knowing that you have built a life of strength, independence, and wisdom. Investing in your growth is an act of self self-respect. When you read, when you learn, when you sharpen your skills, you are telling yourself, I am worthy of more. When you neglect your growth, you accept stagnation. But stagnation is the enemy of confidence. The more you grow, the more you expand your possibilities. And with every new step of growth, your confidence strengthens. You begin to walk differently, speak differently, and carry yourself differently, because you know you are not the same woman you were yesterday. A woman who invests in her growth becomes magnetic. People sense that she is evolving, and evolution is attractive. She does not wait for others to lift her. She lifts herself. She does not wait for opportunities to come knocking. She creates them. And because she is constantly growing, she does not cling to what no longer serves her. She understands that growth means outgrowing, and she has the courage to release what holds her back. Investing in your growth also means investing in your future. It means making choices today that will serve you tomorrow. It means choosing discipline over comfort, learning over distraction, purpose over temporary pleasure. Every hour spent on growth compounds. Every book, every lesson, every skill mastered adds another layer of strength to your foundation. And the stronger your foundation, the more unshakable you become. But understand, this growth is not always comfortable. It will often feel like stretching, like breaking, like moving beyond what you thought you could handle. Growth demands sacrifice. It demands that you leave behind the habits that keep you small, the people who keep you stagnant, and the fears that keep you frozen. But every time you choose growth over comfort, you choose confidence over doubt, you choose strength over fragility, you choose to rise. When you learn to face conflict without fear, you stop being controlled by others. When you stand firm in your standards, you stop being lowered by others. When you invest in your growth, you stop being dependent on others. These are the pillars of confidence, and they build a woman who cannot be shaken by circumstances, who cannot be broken by disrespect, and who cannot be silenced by fear. A woman like this is rare because she has learned that softness is not safety and that strength is not harshness. She has learned that calmness is more powerful than anger, that standards are more valuable than approval, and that growth is more essential than comfort. This is the path of the strong woman. This is the path of confidence. And this is the path that leads to a life of dignity, self-respect, and unshakable power. There is a profound power in being able to embrace solitude without fear. Many run from being alone because they equate it with loneliness, yet the two are not the same. Loneliness is the pain of being disconnected from others, but solitude is the strength of being connected with yourself. When you fear solitude, you will cling to people who do not deserve your presence. You will tolerate disrespect simply because you cannot bear silence. You will hold on to relationships that drain you just to avoid being alone. But when you embrace solitude, you find a freedom that no one can take away from you. You no longer chase company out of desperation. Instead, you choose it out of alignment. In solitude, you learn the sound of your own voice. You learn what you truly value, what you truly desire, and what you truly need. Without solitude, you are easily influenced by the noise of others. The opinions, the expectations, the endless chatter of the world begin to drown out your inner wisdom. But when you sit in stillness, when you face the quiet, you begin to hear your soul speaking. You begin to understand yourself in ways that crowds will never teach you. Solitude sharpens you, just like silence sharpens the edge of a sword. It may feel uncomfortable at first, but discomfort is the birthplace of strength. The woman who embraces solitude without fear becomes unshakable in her choices. She does not remain in toxic relationships out of neediness. Because she has proven to herself that she can stand alone, she does not betray her values to gain temporary company. Because she knows her own presence is already enough. She does not fear the seasons where life becomes quiet, because she understands that growth often happens in silence, not in noise. In solitude, she grows her roots deep, and those roots give her the stability to face storms without collapsing. There is another kind of power that few dare to wield, the power of being direct and honest. Too many women soften their truth until it is unrecognizable, believing that gentleness means avoidance of discomfort. They sugar-coat their words, hoping to keep everyone comfortable, even when it costs them their own peace. But honesty is a gift, and to withhold it is to betray both yourself and others. Being direct does not mean being cruel. It does not mean throwing words like weapons. It means speaking with clarity, with integrity, and with respect, but without fear. When you are afraid to be direct, you allow misunderstandings to multiply. You allow resentment to build. You allow yourself to be walked over because you refuse to state where you stand. A woman who is clear in her words is never easily manipulated. She does not leave room for confusion because she says what she means. Her yes means yes, and her no means no. People may not always like her truth, but they will respect her for it. Clarity is power because it leaves no cracks for exploitation. Honesty is also a mirror. It requires you to look within and face your own truths, not just speak them to others. It means admitting when you are wrong, acknowledging your flaws, and refusing to live in self-deception. This level of honesty is difficult, but it is liberating. A dishonest life may feel easier in the moment, but it leads to chains of regret. An honest life may feel harder in the moment, but it leads to freedom. And the woman who chooses freedom over comfort is the one who lives with true confidence. Many fear honesty because they fear rejection. They believe that if they show their true selves, if they speak their real needs, people will leave. But if honesty drives someone away, it only reveals that they were not aligned with you to begin with. Better to lose those who cannot handle your truth than to keep them by suffocating yourself with lies. When you are honest, you filter out those who are not meant for you, and you attract those who value authenticity. Honesty protects you because it ensures that the connections you keep are real, not built on illusions. Alongside honesty comes another form of strength that is often overlooked: financial independence. Many women live in dependence without realizing how much it limits their freedom. When your survival depends on someone else's generosity, when your comfort relies on someone else's decisions, you give away your power. Dependence often forces women to tolerate disrespect, to stay in situations they have outgrown, or to accept less than they deserve, simply because they feel they cannot stand alone. But when you build financial independence, you reclaim your freedom of choice. Money itself is not the ultimate goal. What it represents is freedom. The freedom to walk away when something no longer serves you. The freedom to say no when someone tries to control you. The freedom to build a life aligned with your values rather than your fears. Financial independence transforms the way you see yourself. It reminds you that you are capable of providing for yourself, capable of creating, capable of building stability with your own hands. That knowledge changes your posture, your voice, and your confidence. Financial independence does not always mean wealth. It means control. It means being in charge of your resources, your decisions, your future. It means not waiting for someone else to rescue you, but rescuing yourself. It means taking responsibility for your financial habits, your growth, and your ability to create abundance. Too many women are taught to depend rather than to build, but dependence is a cage, even if it is made of gold. True strength is knowing that you can stand on your own, even if no one else supports you. Building financial independence requires discipline. It requires choosing long-term security over short-term pleasure. It requires saving when others are spending, learning when others are distracting themselves, investing when others are consuming. But this discipline pays you back in freedom. Every dollar saved, every skill learned, every investment made is a brick in the foundation of your independence. And once that foundation is strong, you will never again be forced to remain in a place that does not honor you. When you embrace solitude, you become whole in yourself. When you practice honesty, you become free in your spirit. When you build financial independence, you become free in your choices. Together, these qualities form an unshakable foundation of strength. The woman who embodies them does not cling to what weakens her, does not fear losing what disrespects her, and does not bow to the pressures of dependence. She is complete because her power no longer comes from outside approval, but from within. A woman who is comfortable in solitude cannot be manipulated by the fear of abandonment. A woman who is honest cannot be silenced by lies. A woman who is financially independent cannot be trapped by control. This is true strength, not in loudness, not in harshness, but in the quiet, steady power of knowing that your worth, your dignity, and your freedom are already yours to protect. When you live this way, you are no longer soft in the way that invites harm. You are soft in compassion, yet firm in boundaries. You are giving, yet never dependent. You are open, yet never naive. This balance is where confidence is born, and it is where a woman discovers the fullness of her strength. There is a kind of strength that does not come from how loudly you speak, but from how deeply you remain rooted when life tries to shake you. A woman who wishes to grow in strength must first learn the art of emotional discipline. Many believe emotions should be allowed to flow without guidance, that feelings must dictate behavior, that every impulse deserves expression. But emotions are like fire. When guided, they provide warmth, light, and power. When uncontrolled, they burn, consume, and destroy. Too often, softness is mistaken for emotional instability, where every mood, every reaction, and every insecurity dictates the path of life. This makes you fragile, easy to provoke, easy to manipulate. Yet when you discipline your emotions, you become unshakable, because no one can control you by pulling at your feelings. Emotional discipline does not mean suppressing feelings or pretending to be cold. It means observing without instantly reacting. It means creating space between the emotion you feel and the decision you make. If anger arises, you do not lash out. If fear arises, you do not retreat. If sadness comes, you do not sink into despair. You allow yourself to feel, but you do not allow those feelings to master you. This is why discipline is an act of strength. It is the ability to hold the reins of your own heart and mind instead of handing them to circumstances or to other people. The woman who learns this discipline cannot be controlled by insults, cannot be manipulated by flattery, cannot be destroyed by rejection. She may feel the sting, but she does not lose herself in it. She recognizes that emotions are temporary visitors, not permanent truths. By practicing calmness in the face of provocation, she becomes the master of herself. And when you master yourself, no one else can. This discipline also protects relationships. So often, conflicts escalate not because of what was said, but because of uncontrolled reactions. A harsh word is met with a harsher one until both sides are at war. But a woman with emotional discipline can pause, breathe, and respond with clarity instead of impulse. She learns that not every battle requires her energy. Not every insult deserves her reply. Not every storm must disturb her inner peace. This calmness is not weakness. It is power in its purest form. Anyone can shout, anyone can break down, but few can stand in the fire without burning. Alongside discipline comes another profound strength: resilience. Life will test you with disappointments, betrayals, and failures. There is no path free of pain, no journey without obstacles. The question is not whether hardship will come, but whether you will rise when it does. Too many collapse under difficulty because they expect life to be smooth. They see challenges as signs that they are unworthy or unlucky. But resilience is the understanding that storms are not signs of weakness. They are the training ground of strength. Every difficulty is a teacher. Every setback is an opportunity to grow thicker skin, sharper vision, and deeper wisdom. The woman who cultivates resilience does not crumble when she hears no. She does not quit when the path becomes steep. She understands that rejection is often redirection, that failure is often preparation, and that pain is often purification. Resilience allows her to continue walking when others stop. It allows her to keep faith when others surrender to doubt. And because she endures, she reaches heights that the fragile never see. Resilience is not born overnight. It is built through practice, through refusing to surrender in small ways every day. When you wake up tired but still show up for your responsibilities, you are building resilience. When you choose to face your fears instead of avoiding them, you are building resilience. When you forgive but do not forget the lesson, when you love but refuse to lose yourself, when you fall but rise again, you are strengthening your resilience. Over time, this creates a spirit that cannot be broken. What many forget is that resilience is not only about withstanding hardship, but about transforming it. It is not enough to merely survive pain. You must allow it to refine you. Diamonds are formed under pressure, and so are strong women. Every wound you survive can either leave you bitter or make you wiser. The choice is always yours, and the woman who chooses to transform her pain into power becomes untouchable. Yet strength is not complete without boundaries. Boundaries are the invisible lines that protect your dignity, your time, your energy, and your peace. Too often women are taught to sacrifice endlessly, to give without limit, to accommodate until nothing remains of themselves. This softness may win temporary approval, but it leads to exhaustion and resentment. A life without boundaries invites disrespect because it teaches others that your resources are theirs to consume. Boundaries are not walls to keep everyone out. They are gates that decide what is allowed in and what must stay out. They are the guardrails that prevent you from falling into patterns of self-destruction. Setting boundaries requires courage because it often means disappointing others. People may call you selfish when you begin to say no. They may accuse you of being cold when you no longer allow them to take advantage of you. But this is the cost of protecting your soul. Those who truly value you will respect your boundaries. Those who only valued your weakness will fall away. A boundary is not only something you communicate, it is something you enforce. If you say, "I will not accept disrespect," but allow it repeatedly, then your words mean nothing. Boundaries require consistency. They demand that you value yourself enough to walk away when they are crossed. This does not make you cruel. It makes you strong. For strength is not only about what you endure, but about what you refuse to allow. A woman with clear boundaries is not easily drained. She chooses her commitments wisely, gives her energy intentionally, and surrounds herself with people who uplift instead of exploit. She knows that love without respect is not love, that kindness without limits is self-destruction, that patience without boundaries is permission for abuse. By creating and maintaining boundaries, she builds a life that reflects her worth rather than diminishes it. Emotional discipline, resilience, and boundaries are threads of the same fabric. Discipline ensures that your emotions serve you instead of ruling you. Resilience ensures that life's storms strengthen you instead of breaking you. Boundaries ensure that others treat you with the respect you deserve instead of the disrespect you tolerate. Together, they form the essence of inner strength. When you embody these qualities, you stop being soft in the way that leaves you exposed. You are no longer easily provoked because your emotions are under your control. You are no longer easily defeated because resilience keeps you standing. You are no longer easily used because boundaries protect your soul. This is what it means to build true confidence. Not the confidence that comes from temporary applause, but the confidence that comes from knowing you are prepared for whatever life brings. And the truth is this: no one will hand you this strength. No one can give you emotional discipline. No one can inject resilience into your spirit. No one can set your boundaries for you. These are responsibilities you must take upon yourself. They require practice, patience, and persistence. But once you cultivate them, no one can take them away. You will walk differently. You will speak differently. You will live differently. Because you will no longer live from fear, from fragility, or from dependence. You will live from strength, from clarity, and from freedom. This is the path of the strong woman. She is not hard in the sense of cruelty, but she is not soft in the sense of weakness. She is balanced, compassionate yet unyielding, gentle yet unbreakable, open yet discerning. She has mastered herself, and in doing so, she has freed herself. That is the power you must claim if you wish to live with strength and confidence. Strength is not about hardening yourself against the world, nor is it about softening to the point of breaking. True strength is balance, the ability to carry compassion without losing your boundaries, to walk with grace without fearing solitude, to speak with honesty without trembling at rejection. Confidence is not found in chasing approval, but in standing firm in your own worth. It is built through discipline, resilience, independence, and the courage to walk away from what no longer serves you. A strong woman does not allow circumstances to define her or people to control her. She rises in silence, she grows in stillness, and she walks with a calm power that cannot be shaken. This is the life of a woman who has chosen to stop being soft in weakness and instead embody softness in love, firmness in truth, and strength in spirit. It is this balance that makes her truly unstoppable.